my director's kind of commentary, answering my first evaluation question for my music video and ancillaries. In what ways does your media product use, develop or challenge forms and conventions of real media products? Starting off with the codes and conventions of music videos that I've researched, I found out that within the genre that I'm doing, which was like rock and roll, I've found that they mainly have a narrative, and in my music video I've got a two-part narrative. It tends to be performance based because it focuses a lot on the performers in themselves, the band members, and it shows their importance to their audience and shows them what they want to see, but at the end of the day, like the actual artists themselves. The star image, that's a theory. Special effects I used. Close-up of artists and characters shown in the video. When we directed it on our storyboard initially, we did plan on having a lot of close-ups of the band, as well as getting close-ups of the characters in different angles and shots of the characters. We've got, I thought what we did quite well in the ending product of the final edit was getting close-up shots of the instruments. Usually calm settings for a more intimate approach to the audiences. Rock and roll as a genre is normally quite fast-tempoed, fast-paced, so once the tempo rises in the chorus, we used fast cuts, usually to the beat of the drums. The instrumental all becomes more distorted and heavy and more rock and roll, so I thought fast cuts would be essential for the music video and the choruses. No matter what the narrative is, whether or not it's a two-part narrative or however many, just a performance narrative, some videos that I've seen have tend to like dose off the narrative and just primarily focus on the performance, which always is quite key to music videos in rock and roll. We did that because if there is a narrative that's happening, it seems key to be able to flip back and forth, to always keep the band and performers like a key part of the video, to not just forget about them, show clips and then forget about them. So I think we did that quite well with the second part narrative in Attenborough Nature Reserve, with Jess acting as Arabella. Came back with clips and fast cuts of us, the band, still playing. In general, I do feel like I obeyed and gone with the codes and conventions of rock and roll. The codes and conventions of magazine adverts that I've found in researching Arctic Monkeys magazine adverts, again relevant to, like, obviously because it was the genre in which I decided to record the music video to, and it's the band itself that we recorded the track to. Me and Nikki found through research that it's very bold. The majority of them aren't, there's not a lot to look at. There's the attention's drawn to one thing and one thing only, and that's usually just the name and tour dates or when the album is going to be released. There's not much to look at. It's a bit boring in some sense, but it gets across the message. Went along with that kind of approach of it sending a message. With me being involved in the magazine advert as well as the music video, that does again show me as a character and band member as a level of importance, and make sure that the audience know who I am, what I stand for, and what the band, and that I'm part of the band. There's other bits, and it is quite complicated to a certain extent with what's actually on the magazine. I'm sat holding a magazine, and I've edited the front to look like I'm actually reading a magazine with Paper Shop Dave on it. So I'm reading our own review, like a kind of photo inside of a photo effect, which I was praised for the idea, because it was very original, and I was quite proud that I thought of that idea, because it was different, and there's not a lot that's been done like that. On the magazine itself, on the left side of the magazine, so the back of the magazine technically, I've got reviews and bits and bobs, but there's very small font, and it's not standout, it's not very bold. There's like magazine adverts by the Arctic Monkeys, you're just Arctic Monkeys displayed across the bottom, with maybe a band member being Alex Turner stood there and pulling a pose or playing or something, or just something like that, which is very simple, but there's a lot to read and a lot to look at in like minor detail in my magazine advert. The all-round image itself is standout, and it's saying there's Paper Shop Dave on the front of the magazine. That's the album cover, so that's again a good bit of linked. The hand-drawn effect on my digipack was a scheme that I kept throughout, and that's again the black and white contrast, which is a simplistic approach. It's very original, which is what all the feedback was telling me, and it follows the conventions of digipacks to the extent that one scheme is kept throughout. And this is through research I've found if a magazine advert or a digipack especially, if it has one scheme, let's say one colour scheme or one image scheme, it has to be kept throughout, otherwise it's just a bit confusing as to what is actually inside. And I kept this throughout as just being black and white colour scheme, which I thought was very good. The magazine advert, many rock and roll magazine adverts tend to go with the option of displaying the full image of the band, but with just me as just a bassist and backing vocalist, it's slightly like differed. It's not displaying everyone or just the lead. It tends to be a lead singer. If there's anyone going to be on a magazine advert, it's a lead singer. But I just thought that being in the music video, in the introduction, I thought that I'd keep me as the face that's recognised. I've already been seen on the introduction of the music video, so I thought the magazine advert would keep the same face and it's easily recognised by audiences. And yeah, that's about it.